We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Thursday when you're listening to this. We're recording it Wednesday night. We have a guest that we've had on before several times. It's been a while, but he's back now. Matt, young guy. Well, you're a millennial,
Elder millennial, yes.
elder millennial, uh, and and you're in Ohio, which is one of the, as you call yourself, a blue dot in a big sea of red. Um, it's been a while
We've
since
been
we
called the
talked.
Florida of the North. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Some good
Um,
stories come out of Ohio.
yeah, they do, they do. Some shitty politicians too. Not mention any
Yeah,
names, of
not to
course.
mention. We'll get into that.
Uh,
We got all night.
yeah, yeah, no kidding. Um, well, since we talked to you, there's been a lot that's going on. Of course, Donald Trump took over as president of the United States, and everything has gone down the shitter ever since. What's the atmosphere in Ohio these days, knowing it's a red state?
Yeah, a lot less stuff in people's driveways and flags, and if they are up, they're pretty old and tattered. But I think everybody's just kind of like starting to realize what you know, F around
Well,
and find out feels like. So I think they're pretty quiet, and the guys that were more loud at work are just kind of a little more quiet. So
that's what I
I
was
don't
going to
get out
ask you
too
about.
much. So
If the vibe is different with the people you talk to that are known to be Republican or Trump humpers, they're just more quiet now. They're not apologetic. They're not suggesting that they're changing their ways. They just keep it on the DL.
yeah, for the most part, that's what I can gather.
No, okay, okay. Has all this been going on? I forgot what you do for a living.
I'm a welder fabricator for a small business, family-owned business, but
Okay.
it has a big, strong tie to the agriculture sector. So
Well,
that's been interesting.
given that and all that's going on with farmers and just the economy in general, have you felt that pinch at all? Is it affecting you in Ohio?
My area, yeah, there's a lot of soybean and corn, so I can only imagine. And hearing what Jay Farmer was saying, we're not too far from each other. Him being in Illinois, so
Right.
pretty much about the same. Uh, there's a big Caterpillar plant that's up by Cleveland. I went and toured it during high school, '04 '05 year, and uh, given that big layoff going around, I wonder if they were on that list.
Have you noticed many layoffs? I mean, I'm in Minnesota. We have Target here. They had a couple thousand people laid off. We've got Amazon and all these other places. Has that been hitting Ohio at all?
If anything, a lot of the hiring signs have went away. I mean, we're a fabricator shop, so we're in high demand. So, as long as we keep growing as a small company, we're obviously going to be hiring here and there. But the big corporations that are in the industrial park here in town, they took their signs down. Another big machine shop on the other end of town, they had a sign out for probably 2.5, 3 years straight. It come down. So,
Really?
if it's fast food or gas stations they're hiring, but outside of that, you don't really see them that much anymore.
Well, as a younger guy with kids, how are you feeling about things right now? Um, it's hard to be optimistic about the future unless you're confident that the demise of Donald Trump and the Trump-fucks is imminent.
There's hope. You got to have hope. And I see a lot of hope in my kids, and they let me see more hope than, you know. But I mean, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. Oh, I got a lot of hope. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm a Vikings fan, so I've got the same thing going on.
Wait,
Um,
yeah, you know.
we're in the same boat. So the election that happened last night, that's got a lot of people excited and feeling good about it. It seems like there's finally some fight from the Democratic side. The Republicans took a big shit yesterday. I mean, they got decimated in every possible election. Um, what were your thoughts about how that election went?
Oh, I loved it. You know, as a Democrat, of course, I loved it. Very exciting and
Did it
paying
surprise you?
attention. No, not really. As much as I was paying attention, I was just waiting to see how close they were, not so much what if they were going to win or not, but I felt pretty confident about Virginia. Uh, I didn't know too much about New Jersey and Mikey Sherrill, but then I saw Obama was up there for her, so you know, I saw that speech and that was pretty good. And you know, and then all the trickle down elections, and of course our boy Zoran, man, wow, it's just incredible speech, and I've been watching him for a while, and really glad that he pulled it off, and just all those big donors that just got shit on was just going for Cuomo was really good icing on the cake. And then Donnie flipping out all night and this morning and all day and just loving it. We got to be
You know,
loving it right now.
the Zorhan Mondani thing is really taking hold all over the country. There are people, I was talking on a live recently, and they said that some people were complaining to their election judges that they couldn't vote for Mondani, and they're in Kentucky or some fucking thing. They don't grasp that he's just the mayor of New York City. But on the other
Right.
side of the coin, we've got people, Republicans running around like their hair's on fire. They are so upset about Mondani getting elected, and I take a little joy in their fear.
We have to. There's little rays of sunshine, and that's where the hope comes in. And when you see it, you got to grasp onto it. And this election day was pretty good. And now there was one that I saw didn't go the way we hoped, and it was one of the off years for Texas.
Yeah,
I would be interesting if Jace knew anything about it, but a young African American guy, Isaiah Martin, that was running for, I think, state office. He was hoping to get in there, or no, he wanted to go to Congress, but I guess he
yeah.
didn't get the turnout he wanted. But he said he's not going anywhere, and you know he's still going to be around. So, but
Yeah,
outside of
Isaiah,
that, everywhere else went pretty good that I was seeing.
yeah, Isaiah Martin is a TikTok guy. He's a very sharp, young African American guy, and I didn't know if he had a chance to win or not. This may be the first thing that he was running for. I
I think
don't
it
know
was,
who won
yeah.
the, I don't know who won that race. He was like third or fourth in the running, and the top two will do a runoff now. So he didn't get it, but you know it's his first try, and it's fucking Texas for fuck's sake. Well, what can
Right. Yeah.
they're going to ruin it one way or another. Um,
Yeah.
do you feel like this is a turning point? I mean, we've been talking about turning points for a long time, and I thought uh, the people stepping back from Donald Trump would have happened a long time ago. I'm amazed that it's taken this long, but it seems like after an election night like that, that people are finally fucking getting it. They finally understand it, and I'm talking about the independents who are now deciding to go Democrat instead of the shitstorm that is Donald Trump and the Republicans.
Well, we're seeing in the independent polls today that two two out of three of the voters are just pissed off, and you know, and then this has to send some of that momentum, and we have to keep this momentum going the best we can with support and reaching out and just keep talking and everything in the narrative that needs to be, and you know, not letting up. And the No Kings was amazing. That was that was really good. And you know, kind of step
Well,
back and look at everything that we're doing to try and fight everything. There is a lot going on. And then you see
No,
everything that Trump's trying to do, and it's either fails or it doesn't make any sense or
or it's
whatever.
disastrous, or it's
or it's
disastrous.
just or it's a
But
disaster and it's just sucks.
I think it was interesting that Donald Trump, what he said after the election last night. I think he is very nervous at this point. What he said was the reason the Republicans lost was because he wasn't on the ballot and because of the shutdown, which I find interesting because he's been trying to blame the Democrats for the shutdown. And today he acknowledged that the Democrats aren't getting the blame. It's the Republicans at this point. So that had to hit home with him pretty seriously that he was wrong and the Republicans are wrong, and they're taking a beating on it. So now they have to
All
figure
right.
out how to get this shutdown over with without trying to compromise because they don't want to compromise.
They haven't been talking to him for months, so the
Yeah.
shutdown was just inevitable. But the way they've been acting and caving and bowing to this fucking orange demented moron, but
Yeah. So
yeah,
so 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 I wonder, with the House of Representatives off for like 5 weeks, you presume they went back to their districts, and I'm wondering, has anybody gotten any info on whether Jim Jordan's hanging around boys' locker rooms at all? Because that would seem like the place he would go if he's got nothing going.
it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm not quite sure if it's wrestling season or not.
Well, it's
I'm
getting
not
close. It's
getting
getting
close. That
close.
is a yeah. Maybe that's part of it. But yeah, Jim Jordan, dear God. No,
That's got to be one of your biggest embarrassments living in Ohio,
that's one
having a
of
guy like
them.
Jim Jordan.
Yeah, he's just an absolute joke, and he should honestly be looking at charges through that Ohio State thing. And then I'm pretty sure we're on like day 800 and something of not answering a subpoena. So,
Yeah.
if you really want to dig deep on him, but he's one amongst many. And uh, my representative, Bob Loletta, Robert, he's just non existent since like '07. The guy's never around. And I think he
I've
did
never
a
heard of him.
digital town hall back in March, I think, and that was it. Through Facebook, though, I kind of infiltrated the representative next to us. His name is Max Miller. He's a former Trump aide. I brought him up before, but all the negative ICE videos and bullshit and stuff, I'm tagging him in them, and it hasn't stopped me from doing it, so I'm not going to stop doing it.
You haven't gotten any pushback over it yet?
No, no, I figured a staffer or something. you know,
Yeah,
That's
you
the only thing I'm on anymore is just random on YouTube and my own Facebook account. So
now
that's why I
now
stay in touch with them.
the thing is that is it Sherrod Brown or Sherrod Brown running for
Share it.
Senate?
Yeah.
Sherrod Brown running for Senate again. Now he was the senator, then he got beat in the last race. I can't remember who beat him. It was a Republican. Do you
Bernie
think he's got a
Moreno, you car salesman,
oh, yeah, that creepy fuck. Yeah, Bernie Moreno. So what do you think about
anti-Semitic douchebag.
you think Sherrod Brown's got a chance to take it back from him?
A lot of people around here, whether you're openly Democrat or you are Republican, which is a high possibility, but yeah, you do have respect for how he does carry himself and does stuff for the state. But he only lost his spot by 3 points.
Yeah.
So he's saying, fuck it. I still got fuel left in the tank at 72 years old, and people trust him. So the guy he's going up against is who got thrown in there by the governor when Vance got out because he was only there for not even 2 years. His name's John Husted, and he's a joke.
Well, and I understand that J.D. Vance's half brother didn't do too well in his run to be mayor of Cincinnati either. Got his ass kicked pretty handily.
Well, that's good. That's news to me. That's good. Cincinnati up here is like northern Kentucky, so that the news doesn't travel too far from Cincinnati area.
Well, I think he lost to the guy. The guy who beat him got 80%, and he got like 19. So, uh,
Awesome. Yeah.
well, what are you thinking about Donald Trump right now? I mean, obviously he's looking a little disheveled. He's looking a little diminished cognitively. Do you have a read on Donald Trump at this point? How you see? I mean, since the last time we talked, it's been a while. So,
Right.
he's diminished quite a lot since the last time we talked.
Oh yeah, he's the when he's focused on a word and his brain will not spit it out, and it takes him two or three tries, and then it's just kind of rambles to something else. That's legitimate. That is called phonemic paraphasia. And that is a brain condition after early onset dementia. It's
Mm.
right there for everybody. If you don't believe me, you can ask Dr. John Gardner or just go listen to they can't do it anymore. They moved on, but a podcast called Shrinking Trump. It was really good, but there's probably a good 50 something episodes of it. And it was every Saturday, and it was two psychologists, and it was a good therapy session every Saturday. So if anybody wants to go listen to that,
Is that where you got
really
that
good.
term? Is that is that where you got that term about
That's
that
the
potential
medical term.
disease?
Yeah.
Because
Phonemic
did you get it from the
paraphasia.
podcast? Because I'm thinking a welder doesn't trade in those kind of terms typically. I don't
Right.
anyway.
Right.
Uh,
I pick up on stuff here and there.
yeah, yeah. There's plenty of content out there. It's going to be interesting. How do you think this plays out with Donald Trump? I mean, right now I'm hearing that there's some people within the White House that are kind of going, "Holy fuck, what have we got ourselves into? I can't believe they're just getting it now." But
There
an
has to be.
election, yeah, election night like last night's got to get people pulling away from him. And I think ultimately that's what's going to take him down when everybody loses faith, realize he's a liability as opposed to an asset. Um, I'm already getting that sense right now because people are already pushing back in the Senate and such. So he may be on the road down, the spiral down to his ultimate crash.
Yeah, it's definitely looking that way ever since. How long ago was when he was sitting there and the left side or right, whatever side of his face started to droop like that?
Yeah, it was about a month ago or so. You know what? I've noticed the one side of his face, the mouth droops a little bit, and I've been noticing his eye too.
The eye, yes,
So
puffy,
that's definitely a sign
swollen
of a
eye.
stroke of some sort. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when the whole fucking fiasco with Putin and Russia, that was just fucking horrifying, really. As an American, as all of it, just the but watching the video of it, I mean, the guy can't even walk straight. He was wandering all over the place, and then you saw it again in Japan. So it's there every day. And if he's just sitting there at the desk, he's hiding his hands. He's not making any sense.
Well,
And
he went on to 60 Minutes to do an interview, and he did what he typically
oh
does. He
god,
brings printouts showing the wars that he stopped, which is absolute bullshit. He not only hasn't stopped any wars, he's in the process of starting a couple more. He didn't do anything with Russia and Ukraine. There's still genocide going on between Israel and Hamas. It's just it's just a mess, and he keeps trying to tell people that he's doing something, and he's doing absolutely nothing. I don't know how he thinks that people buy into his bullshit because the opposite is what's true. I mean, he says he's bringing down prices. Prices are lower than ever. Well, you can say that to people, but when they go to the store and they're paying high prices for shit, it doesn't take them long to realize that he's a fucking lying motherfucker.
I don't know what's taking it's taking everybody this long to fucking figure it out, but here we are. But I mean, the just the way he tries to loop certain things together, and it's just oh my god, it's getting worse and worse. And constant lies. Now it's just every other sentence practically. And then
Yeah.
just
But the thing is a lot of people think that he's got some plan or strategy. And what I know about Donald Trump and the type of personality he has, he's just pulling shit out of the air, pulling shit out of his ass. He just says whatever he thinks works at that moment. And we can tell that he's getting himself in trouble. Like for example, he could have let the whole second annual checkup go by the wayside, but he had to bring up, oh, yeah, I got an MRI and I took the cognitive test for the second time. Those things tell you there's something wrong. They don't give you an MRI unless there's something wrong with you and they need to check it. But of course, Donald Trump said he aced the MRI. I don't know how the fuck you do that. Um, but he doesn't really have any great ability to put together information or a sentence. He just says whatever seems to work in his mind at that moment. He just spews shit out.
these are the last little firings that are going on in that head of his that he's got left, I think is what we're seeing right now. And no, I'm with you. I hope it's just the cack out and if there's I hope the last thing he says is Joe Biden something and then he can't talk anymore and that's the end of it.
I hope it happens
Public.
on stage in front of cameras and it's
Yeah,
horribly embarrassing because that
yeah.
would be just desserts for Donald Trump at this point, for him to go out that way.
Hitting
Now,
himself in the eye.
yeah, now, if Donald Trump, well, when Donald Trump is no more, I get a lot of people talking to me about JD Vance. Oh, he's going to be worse. JD Vance was your senator for a couple of years. What do you think about JD Vance should he end up being the president?
He was non-existent. He only won the race against damn it, it's skipping my brain right now. The guy he ran against, but he only won his seat by a couple points. And then out of nowhere, Trump picks him to be his VP pick, and then it's all exposed on why that happened with the Peter Thiel and all that bullshit. And
Well, the thing
it's
about
just
it
a
is,
fake ass chameleon with half the power right now, and everybody can see it. This dude had the lowest rating of anything during the
yeah.
election, and it's just
Well,
he can
that's
talk a
exactly.
lot better than Trump, but he ain't got no savvy. He's got no power or strength, or presents himself that way, and is just an idiot, really.
Well, I think he had one trait that Donald Trump needed in a vice president, that he had in Mike Pence too. That he's just a wussy ass yes man. He'll go along with anything. He will say anything, no matter how stupid it is. He'll support Donald Trump in the process. One of the things I've told people, they're saying, "Oh, if he gets to be president, it's going to be bad." No, because nobody likes him. Nobody, even in the Republican Party, likes him, and nobody's afraid of him. Donald Trump is just a wild card, and he can do anything at any given time and surprise everybody in the process. I don't think that JD Vance really has that ability. He can't command the power that Donald Trump
No,
has, with
he'll get
with
fucking
the
laughed
cult.
at.
Yeah, yeah, he will. He will. Um, so you think he's going to divorce his wife and marry Erica Kirk?
Certainly looks that way. Those
Yeah,
videos have been good with all the creators going around. Holy shit.
that was just a whole weird thing. Um,
Ugh.
I think you're right, though, that the reason he's vice president because he's a wimp and Donald Trump can play him any way he wants. But Peter Thiel and Elon Musk wanted a tech bro of sorts in there so they can control things. I think what they're finding out, though, I think Project 2025 too is finding out that we want to do all these things, but Donald Trump is like a bull in the china shop. He's doing it too fast. He's doing it too recklessly, and most of the shit he's trying to do is not working. So I think even the people that thought they could use him to get their way are even a little nervous at this point.
Yeah, there's just they thought it was bad in the first term. I think you got more plates spinning now than ever, and one by one they're crashing, and he doesn't know what to do, and it's trying to put up another and spin another one, and you ain't got no hands left.
Yeah. Well, I've been hearing some reports and people are getting upset about it, and I'm going to be upset if this happens. There's talk that some Democrats in the Senate are getting a little pressure and they're thinking about giving in and passing this CR, which would be an absolute disaster for the Democrats and the people that vote for it. It's absolutely the wrong time to do it. After that election, we've got them on the run now. Now's not the time to wimp out. I hope to God the Democrats don't do that.
You fucking better not. That's all I can say. Yeah, definitely got him on the run at this point. And everybody knows who's causing this. Everybody knows you had the big mandate that you wanted that didn't exist, but trifecta, and all of a sudden it's our fault. No, it ain't my problem that you didn't understand 60 votes from a majority and think you can just run everything. And now you run into this wall. And that's half of it. The other half is the Epstein files. It ain't going anywhere. As soon as they're open back up, it's going to pop right back in all their faces again.
I will
And you
say
got
this, though.
the
Donald
three
Trump did
whack
get a
jobs and one decent one, half decent, that's ready to jump on that grenade.
Yeah, well, one thing Donald Trump did get yesterday was a mandate, and the mandate says, Trump, you suck. We don't like you. We hate you. That was literally a mandate with the voting. Donald Trump said his name wasn't on the ballot. That's why he lost. Well, that's kind of bullshit because everything that happened in those elections happened because of the disaster that Donald Trump's created in this country.
That's what I wanted to say earlier. If you don't know what this man's narcissism is or looks like, it was in that post right there. I wasn't on the ballot. That's why. Who says that shit? Who comes up with that? And there it is, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump says some amazing shit, and the
Yeah.
crazy thing is he gets away with it with so many people. I don't understand it. I mean, if we were in high school or at a workplace and a guy talked like that, you'd think he was a big fucking buffoon, a dope, and nobody would take him seriously. But some people in this country do, and because they do, then politicians support him in spite of the fact that they know better. They should know better that tariffs and such uh, are going to cause the problems we're looking at. Uh, you know, Donald Trump, after that election last night, Donald Trump put himself, he's painted into a corner, and he's damned if he does, and he's damned if he doesn't. Now he knows that he's getting the blame for the shutdown. So naturally, he'd want to get it opened up again. But that would entail him having to give in and continue the subsidies with the ACA. And that's why I say if the Democrats are thinking about folding and giving up on the ACA, you might as well get out of the business because you're not going to be reelected either as Democrats. But here's the other problem, too. He needs to open up the country. He needs to stop the shutdown because he's getting decimated with the shutdown. But in order to do that, he's going to have to bring Mike Johnson to bring in the House of Representatives again to accomplish that. But if he does that, they're going to get the discharge petition and the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing flies in his face. No matter what he
Yep.
does, Donald Trump is fucked at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. He's caught in his own fucking trap, basically. He's
Okay.
he's the dog that caught the car. Now he doesn't know what the fuck to do, basically, and his brain doesn't know how to handle it at this point, the way he used to.
Yeah, and being the dog that catches the car seems to be a common theme for Donald Trump. He makes outrageous claims, and then when he comes up to it, like for example, he's trying to prosecute James Comey, and
Yeah,
James
how's
Comey
that
is
going?
yeah, and James Comey's going, first of all, the woman who's prosecuting isn't even legally in the job, and that might get this thing thrown out. But if it doesn't get thrown out, we're going to make you bring a bunch of evidence that you don't want to be seen. So Donald Trump gets played again. He thinks he can intimidate people, but when you've got somebody like James Comey or some of these other people that he's going after, Letitia James, they're way smarter than he is. And
And not to mention, we have the message that you were supposed to send to Pam, but you didn't. You send it out to the fucking world. So now we all know what you wanted to happen. And then it did happen. So you're not fooling anybody. It's not going to
yeah,
work. This is
you
worse
were.
than anything he's ever tried to do in the courts right now. It's just, they're going to laugh this thing right out.
I don't even know that at least Comey's goes to trial. They're going to prove that the prosecutor shouldn't even be in there. They put her in illegally, and then they're going to prove that he's weaponizing or malicious. It's a malicious prosecution, and the only reason we know it's a malicious prosecution, like you said, he put it in a fucking Truth Social post. He admitted to it. It's just a
It's all
dumb
right there.
motherfucker.
It's all there.
It is. And that's what I always say. I said no matter what bad thing Donald Trump is doing, the one thing we can always count on is that he'll fuck it up. And same with the Republicans. They will fuck it up. Thank God for that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how bad things would be if we had a competent motherfucker in the White House?
Be a lot more boring, probably.
Well, at this stage, I'd almost buy a little more boring. There was a time when politics was
Oh
boring,
man,
and
I can barely remember those days, but I remember.
yeah, this whole thing on TikTok and the podcast I've been doing for 5 years. And I got to be honest with you, when you get up in the morning and you start talking about dumb shit and you talk about dumb shit all day, it gets to be a little tedious after a while, and there is no more surprises. Guess what Donald Trump did? And I could say anything and people go, well, that's fucked up. I'm sure he did that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, but that's where we're at. It's starting to, they can see the road's coming to an end, but there's no, the accelerator's stuck and it's too heavy to slow down or something.
Well,
Yesterday
I
was
think,
proving that.
yeah, and I think
Some
the
of the
problem
differences in
is,
these votings was just insane, the amount of people that showed up.
you think it's the independents that are the decisive, decided part of this? Because we know the Democrats are going to vote for the Democrats. The dumb fuck Republicans are going to vote for the dumb fuck Republicans. But those independents who maybe voted for Donald Trump for whatever stupid reason, they're now getting a snoot full of this shit and they're getting tired of it. They don't like the deportations. They don't like the shutdown. They don't like the raising prices. They don't like the stupid answers and the ridiculous behavior from Donald Trump. Do you think they finally had enough and they're just saying, I'll vote for anybody but Donald Trump?
I sure fucking hope so. I sure fucking hope so. And that, it's proven that in 2020, that's where 83 million came from. There was a shit ton of independents in there. After going through round one of Trump, it was like, dear God, get Joe in there. He's old, but damn it, he knows what he's doing and he's got experience. Let's go. And that's what we did.
It's almost as if people who voted against Donald Trump in 2020 forgot about all the stupid shit he did. Forgot about a million people dying of COVID.
The
It's
Republicans sure
amazing.
did.
Well, they did. I think the Republicans, they'll latch on to
They
anybody
didn't
where they
care.
think they can get some votes. No, they don't care.
That's where the
It's
identity politics comes into play. Somebody broke this down real hard, and it's more of the diehard MAGAs, and we probably know this, but they've turned him into a part of their own identity. So when you say he's a old decrepit shit stain that doesn't know what he's doing, they take that as a front to them. So that's just how thick that cult spread must be, I guess. And that's what his numbers still spew out today, 37, 38%. It ain't going to get
and
any
that
better.
yeah, that's pretty bad. 60% disapproval. That's not a good sign. And I would hope after the elections last night and the polls the way they are, I hope the Republicans finally realize that this guy is a big liability for you. The faster you can get away from him, the better. They should have cut him loose after 2020, but they stupidly sucked him in. I mean, I got to give them credit. At least they got him elected again as president, so they did get some uh, political capital out of it. But at what cost? I mean, the economy is shit. Everything's going wrong. We've got money being spent, God knows where, and coming from God knows where. It's really a fucking mess, and it's going to be a long time cleaning it up when we finally get people of a normal intelligence in there to do it. The sooner the better.
Yeah, sooner the better, and we're gonna hit our holiday season. We're gonna hit the New Year's, and then it's gonna be bam. You know what? It's fucking midterm year now. Let's go, baby. And I think it's gonna ramp back up real fucking hard this year. And I mean, we're gonna see some crazy turnout again. You watch. I'm calling it now.
Well, and the turnout was pretty impressive on an off year election. We know turnouts are lesser in midterms as opposed to the presidential election
Right.
races.
Right.
But for a big turnout to come out on an off year, 2025, that tells a story too. That tells you, people standing in line on an off year election to vote on a proposition out in California or, one or two candidates in
Proposition.
their
Yeah.
states. That tells you people are desperate for fucking change at this point, and that's why they're coming out at a time when they may not even make the time to go to the election.
Yeah, they'll do what they got to do to get out there and vote when it's this bad. And I think he can keep doing what he's trying to make everything worse. But again, I don't think he's much long left in general. So whether he pulls it off or Vance has to step in there and try to carry all this same bullshit, and I don't think he's. I think half the shit's going to drop off when he drops off because the money they're spending that isn't going to what it's supposed to, the shutdown still being. I mean, it's so. You could look at three different aspects and say how's your fucking government even functioning right now? And there's 23 things going on that deeply impact the country that are going on right now.
Well, the
It's just
SNAP situation
crazy.
is a perfect example. He didn't have to shut off SNAP. He could have used the emergency funds. Then he
Yeah,
was
it's the
forced
first
to use
time
the
this has happened.
emergency. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And he
Why?
chose not.
Because you're an asshole,
Well,
Trump.
I'll tell you why. He thinks that's the leverage he has against the Democrats. He's going to appeal to their compassionate side, and they won't want the people not to get snapped, so they'll give in and give Donald Trump whatever he wants. The problem with that is, uh, the cost of that is too high. The cost of it is getting tens of millions of people kicked off or not able to afford health care. So the Democrats really can't back off of it unless there's some agreement there. Uh, but like I say, if Donald Trump agrees to keep the subsidies for a period of time, then he's got to bring the House back, and he's got another problem with the Epstein stuff and the discharge petition. He's fucked either way he goes. And then I brought this up, and people kind of caught on to it because I know how people like Donald Trump behave, especially when it comes to money. You wonder why he's pushing so hard not to pay the SNAP benefits. You wonder why. He wasn't counting on a shutdown where the emergency funds would have to be used. This may sound crazy, but I'm willing to bet that emergency fund is empty right now because he's paid for fucking planes and parades and bathrooms and golfing and shit. I'm thinking this guy is trying so hard not to pay these SNAP benefits because he can't go to the well because the well is fucking dry. And if that's the case, we're going to have some, he's going to have some problems when this all shakes out.
I've heard you bring it up before, and yeah, it definitely would not surprise me one bit if that's the case. And if that is the case, oh shit, I
Well,
would not want to be anywhere near the White House at that point.
well, the thing about it is if that is the case with that emergency fund, knowing what I know about narcissists who and how they deal with money, because they do whatever they want to do and they figure out how they're going to pay for it after the fact. I'm concerned that once Donald Trump is out of the White House, the Republicans are gone, and we start opening up the books as to what's going on financially with our government, because we don't know now. He doesn't tell us anything, that we are going to find a mess far bigger than just the SNAP funding. I think there's going to be a lot of issues that are going to be hard to be explained.
Well, I mean, we all saw the Senate hearings when they had to step in there, and months ago.
Yeah.
Christy Nome, where the hell's all the money going? You're already over budget, and you're not even into the second quarter yet. Like where's the money coming? And that was before the bill passed. So,
Yeah.
and who had control of the books? They're all asking them, and you had Musk running around for 120 days doing God knows what with programs and shit. So, I mean, yeah, once they peel back what has actually been caused, I think we only know parts of it right now, but
Well, he's got another serious problem. We know that they had oral arguments for the tariff thing, whether or not he has the legal right to issue tariffs. He does not. Congress has the right to do that. But he's been fighting against that, and he has some claim as to why he gets to do it. They had the oral arguments today at the Supreme Court, and it was
yeah, I
interesting
heard.
because nobody really seemed to be buying the shit, even the conservatives. So if Donald Trump gets a decision from the Supreme Court saying it's not legal, his whole strategy for the economy is fucked, but he's got to pay all that shit back too. The alleged $17 trillion. He better have that in a cubbyhole someplace because he's going to have to start paying that shit back.
Yeah, how do you go from 17 to 18 to 22? And then the reports that I could find, it was around a little over five.
Yeah,
And
if it's
that's our
that.
money. And that's what we've paid in the fucking tariffs, not other countries. So if you have to give it back,
But
did we just get on a whole year? Did we just break even
we didn't
as
even
a
break
country?
even. Our taxes, basically, our taxes went up, and we paid the bill. Now, what was interesting. One of the judges might have been Gorsuch, talking to the lawyer, said, "Well, who pays the tariffs?" And of course, he went off and, "Well, it could be these guys, it could be those guys." But when it came
Exactly.
down to it, he's talking to a Supreme Court justice. He had to lay it out. And he basically said 80% of the tariffs, and I think this is an exaggeration too, as too low actually, but he's saying 80% is paid for by the people of this country. The Democrats or the Republicans have been trying to tell us just the opposite. But his lawyer had to admit in the Supreme Court to a justice that 80% of the money that's collected from tariffs comes from me and you and everybody else. And if that isn't enough to piss people off, I don't know what the fuck you got to do.
There you go. If he said it, that's what it is. And if that's what he's going to go with, then so be it. But let's break that down. If Trumpty Humpty's mad at China and it's 100%, well, guess who's paying 80% of that 100%? All of us. So either way you
Absolutely.
look at your whole stupid tariff bullshit right from the beginning, it's a crock of crap. And then you add 10% because Reagan told you they suck in a non-AI video.
Yeah. Yeah.
God damn it, Mike, you're old enough to remember when he said that.
I
You probably
am.
watched it, right?
I probably did. I even, sadly, because I was 20 years old at the time, and I didn't know any better. I think I even voted for Ron. I know I voted for Ronald Reagan because the economy sucked and Jimmy Carter was having all kinds of problems. In retrospect, I'm ashamed of that vote, but not much I can do about it now. Um,
I feel like a lot of Democrats have been bitten at least once.
oh yeah, yeah.
I know I have.
I yeah, yeah. You
My
know, you
first
can
vote
get
was
fooled.
Bush in '04, and boy, do I regret it.
Uh, George W. or HW?
Second Bush. What's that? Eighth?
Okay, George. Yeah,
George
I got
W.
to
Bush.
tell.
Yeah.
I
'04,
used
him
to.
and Cheney.
I used to say that George W. Bush was the dumbest president in the history of this country, and I had to retract that because, to be perfectly honest with you, with Donald Trump uh, in office as president, I even kind of miss George W. now, and I hated that motherfucker.
He almost looks like a modern day Einstein compared to this jagoff now.
Yeah, Donald
At
Trump is
least he
without a
actually
question.
had jokes that like made sense and that were funny. This guy, he just, even in that room today, he tries to make everybody else laugh, and they eventually just start all laughing together. But it's all bullshit. He's not saying anything funny. There's no jokes in there. He's just babbling.
He doesn't have a good sense of humor, and he doesn't. You never see the guy smile.
No,
Of course, when George W. Bush was president, he wasn't really president. The guy running the show was Cheney, and of course, he just died. And I said, you know, Cheney was evil incarnate. There's no question about it. He was a piece of shit. A lot of people said, well, he must be a good guy now. He doesn't like Donald Trump. No, he was still a piece of shit. I think we should be lucky. This may sound crazy. Cheney was evil, but
right.
he wasn't stupid. Cheney also understood the decorum and the guardrails that made sense so that he could maintain some legitimacy. Donald Trump has evil in him too, but he has no bounds. He's just like a drunken toddler flailing around. I think we're lucky that Donald Trump is in office now and not Dick Cheney. Because if Dick Cheney was president right now, we'd be even more fucked than we are now. Thank God Donald Trump's an idiot.
Thank God he's an idiot. Yeah, I remember towards the end of Bush's second term, things were getting really bad, and just watching how the wars were dragging down on everybody, and layoffs started to happen at the shop I was at, and go out to the break area and light up a cigarette, and the guy just happened to be sitting there. I've heard him talk politics before, so I go, man, what? How come nobody has done anything to this idiot and get him out of there yet? And he looked at me and he goes, well, then you'd have Dick Cheney and we'd all be fucked.
That's a good point.
I
That's a good
was
point.
like, okay.
Yeah, Dick Cheney.
So I
Dick
think
Cheney
my
was
comment
evil.
was just rest in peace, you warmonger.
Yeah. Well, that's like when Liz Cheney was on the January 6th committee. Everybody thought, well, she's kind of nice. No, she's not. She is a
No.
fucking conservative. She doesn't believe anything a Democrat believes. And just because she's hates the same person you hate doesn't make her a better person. And that's one of the things we've got to be careful of. A lot of these Republicans will start coming out against Donald Trump, and people will say, well, now he's our friend. They're never our friends. What
You
these
can give
people
her
have done to this.
props. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you can give her props for it, but
Yeah, you
but
can go
but
ahead
the
and
thing
give her
about it
props, but
is,
you can dig into her past and what she's tried to get legislated and shit, and it'd make your head spin.
yeah, she voted with Donald Trump many times, and like I say, people are going to be walking away from Donald Trump and trying to get people to like them again. But understand what has happened in this country and what these people supported. To me, it's they're not redeemable. you can't trust them. My biggest concern with anybody, whether it be a Trump-a-fuck on the street or a politician who supported Donald Trump, they may uh, find the flaw in their ways and want to be forgiven, but you can't trust them. Who's to say the next crazy train comes through and they jump on that motherfucker? They need to just go away, take their whooping if they're going to get a whooping, and just leave the big people, the adults, alone because you motherfuckers are just stupid.
Flat out stupid or evil. And as I've heard you say before, I'd like to be, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll just consider you fucking dumb. But to the other point, it's like, if at this point, if you've triple trumped with your votes, it comes to find out that we all know he is responsible for January 6th. If that does get laid down on him at some point in time, if he's not keeled over by then, and if, try to say he does some stupid shit with 2028 and he loses, there should be a process that if you did vote for him all those times, you should lose like one round of voting and like have to pass a civics test because you're
That
you're
would be a
just
good.
brain dead at this point. You don't know what's going on. I would almost rather we have right now what we had in his first term. There were the guardrails. There were people telling him, dude, you can't fucking do that. Are you crazy? And
Yeah.
now they're gone. Now you just have this fucking drunk drawer cabinet of fucking garbage that'll just go along with anything. And then the way the Senate has just caved, this is what we're in now. This is what it looks like.
Well,
But you know
Donald
what? We're
Trump is.
hanging on. We're not giving up. We're not going anywhere. And last night proved that. No Kings has proven that. And we're going to fucking be here.
Yeah, we go one step back, forward, one step back, two steps forward, one step back. It's slow but sure, but at least we're making some progress and we're making a dent in this mess that we're in right now. And that's the best way to look at it. We are in a mess right now. That doesn't mean it's the end of the world or the end of the country. There's always a chance, like you say, always some hope that we will
Oh,
come out the other side. We've been in rough times before. We'll get on the other side.
my little tiny Facebook reach, I don't have a huge following or anything like that, but normally when I see different posts and stuff, major ones will have a couple 100,000 likes and stuff on them. Somebody made a picture of Gavin Newsom with AOC as his VP running mate, and it had over 2 million likes on it. If that
That's
doesn't show
that's
you a little bit of something in an off year election 3 years out, you know, that's not, it's a stupid thing I seen on Facebook. Take it for what it's worth, but that was a lot of fucking million people on a stupid little picture.
yeah. Well, and that's at this point, that's not a bad pairing. I think people have a lot of respect for AOC. I think Gavin Newsom has the right idea of how to handle Donald Trump instead of trying to compete with him with facts and stuff. The best thing
His
you could
media
do is
team sure the
embarrass
hell
him.
does.
What's that?
His media team sure the hell does.
Yeah, they take care of him pretty good, but I think the tact that they go in and they make fun of him. That's what gets in his head. You can call him a criminal, you can call him a cheat, you can call him a crook. He doesn't care about that. But when you make him look stupid, that fucks with him.
Oh yeah. And did you hear Mike Johnson trying to defend Prop 50 today?
Uh, Defend voting against it.
How it passed and how he's trying to flip it and how bad it is and how they're doing it unconstitutional. It's just it's just so much gaslighting. It's just so
Well, it's ridiculous
God.
because Gavin Newsom did it absolutely constitutionally, state
That's
constitutional
what I'm
wise.
saying. It's complete gaslighting, and he's just on step somewhere with a dozen other douchebags behind him, and people actually listen to this and they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess he said that, so I get that's what they did."
Well, I just don't think Mike Johnson is long for his position. I think he's pissing off a lot of people. He's pissing off the Senate. You can't be making Donald Trump happy. At some point, he's going to have to bring the session back in, the House of Representatives. And as soon as they do, that discharge petition is going to go off, and Donald Trump's going to lose his shit.
He's gonna be so mad. He's gonna call for his fucking thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
7 or more sycophants are gonna step up because I think that's the number now, and they'll get his ass kicked out. Wouldn't that be great? Right after a shutdown, you kick out your own speaker.
Yeah.
Go
Well,
ahead, keep going.
that's distinctly possible. And I've said before, it might even be a ploy.
Drag that
You know,
out for 2 more months, 3 months, because you can't come up with anybody just like you did before.
right. You don't have a Speaker of the House, you can't do anything, including a discharge petition. But I think he's getting some pressure on the swearing in of this woman. It's now at a record period of time. No one has had to wait this long ever to be sworn in, and what he's
Attorney
doing and
General
why
of
he's doing.
Arizona filed charges.
Yeah, yeah, they filed a lawsuit. And I was listening to the attorney general. She said there's some other things she could do. I don't know what that would be, but it's taxation without representation for those people in Arizona that don't have their representative. I mean, it wouldn't make a difference because they aren't even in the building anyway. But uh, I got to tell you, if I'm Representative Grijalva, I'm feeling pretty good about the power I have. I'm so powerful, and I even stepped in and got sworn in yet that I've scared the Speaker of the House and all the Republicans the fuck out of the state or out of the D.C. area.
Yeah, no
They are
shit.
terrified.
If I were her, I'd be camped up in front of his office every day.
Yeah, I think she is in D.C.
Every day.
Yeah, I don't know where Mike Johnson is, and of course he says, well, I'd like to bring people back, but they're doing good work in their home districts. Well, they aren't doing town halls, I tell you that.
No. We'd be seeing those videos already.
If anything, they're fucking hiding. They're got to be hiding because, you know, there can't be anybody that's happy. Even if you are a Republican and you're paying higher grocery costs or higher anything, you got to be a little pissed off because Donald Trump said he'd do it first day, and it went just the opposite way. And that's typical of Donald Trump. Donald Trump and people like him, they're constantly disappointing people they work with, their families. I know from
Yeah.
my experience with the narcissist, they make all kinds of grandiose claims and promises. They never come through. They never, ever come through.
Yeah, it's a unfortunate typical trait, but all these fuckers got to be ashamed, and they should be shamed when they go out. There was an awesome video a couple months back of Rick Scott just getting destroyed by this chick in a coffee shop, just fucking to the point he didn't even place an order or nothing. He just turned around and walked right out of that bitch.
Well,
And that's
then,
what should
uh,
happen with all these assholes. It's un, it's just there's a bigger word out there. It's unbelievable. It's just fucking crazy.
well, and kind of up by you too is Pennsylvania, and then you've got this Fetterman guy.
Oh
I don't
God.
know what the fuck happened to him, but I saw a video where he's sitting on a park bench by himself and a woman comes up and starts tearing into him. And all he does is
Right.
bow his head and doesn't say anything. This guy isn't mentally capable of holding the job as a U.S. Senator. He should be booted out as quickly as possible. He's not a Democrat. He's not a friend of the Democrats. And he's not physically sound or mentally sound.
No, there needs to be more detailed upkeep on these people. The way he's acting, and what the one rep was in a care facility for 6 months and nobody had
Yeah.
any idea. I mean, come on. Before the shutdown, you had like 3 Democratic reps not sworn in yet, and you're running around passing shit. How is that possible? All the votes aren't represented. Like, how are you
Yeah.
able to pass anything?
Well, and
There's
we're hearing now that
stupid
it
ass
sounds like,
loopholes like that that just need to be sewn up, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And Kamala did an interview with Jon Stewart, and that's what she was saying on that episode was just the efficiency and the speed and the communication. Those three things within the government need to change dramatically if they want any sort of trust again. And I couldn't agree
oh,
more.
yeah, I agree too. You know, we were to believe that if you got subpoenaed from Congress, that was a big deal. You got to show up. It's fucking Congress. Find
No
out that's
shit.
not the case. We always heard about guardrails or norms or rule of law, and what we're finding out, none of those really exist. Maybe they did
You got
exist with
money,
normal
it doesn't
people.
fucking matter. If you got to
Yeah,
stand somehow in government, it doesn't fucking matter. And it's bullshit.
that shit definitely has to change. And I know some people I was talking to, maybe TJ was saying this, that one of the first things that'll happen when Democrats take control is they start firming up some guardrails and keeping people accountable for stepping over
Absolutely.
guardrails. Because what we have now is just the fucking Wild West in Congress and in the presidency. Anybody can do whatever the fuck they want, and it's clearly not working.
No, the system's been, it sure as hell wasn't perfect before 2015, but the cracks that were there have now turned into giant gashes with life-saving fluid flowing from them, and you're trying to cure it with band-aids. And
Yeah,
it's one of those things. But you got to step back for a second and take a look at what he's actually has accomplished. And he can go out there and say, "Oh, I'm going to tariff the hell out of all these things," but those are illegal, and now they're being fought in court and so on. And you can look at all these other things, and there's only so much validity to them. And last I knew, executive orders still had to go through the Senate. So I don't know how much longer he's going to be able to pull this bullshit off, but I don't think it's long. At least it
I
don't
don't
feel
know.
like it.
No, I don't. I don't think he's healthy enough to continue very much longer. I know I'm going to talk to Ed later in the week, and his prediction is that he'll be done dead by Thanksgiving. That might be cutting a little close. I mean, he's got a little cockroach in him. He's every time he looks like
Yeah.
he's done, he somehow squirms out from underneath the refrigerator. He's a
Yeah.
little bit of a cockroach, but um, it's going to be interesting if he does go down and it's behind the scenes. How long they're going to try to prop him up or keep it quiet so that he
Thought
can
about that too.
maintain his power no matter how fucked up he is. I mean, he's pretty fucked up right now, but when he's just comatose or when he's um, incapacitated fully, I wouldn't be surprised if the Republicans try to keep it undercover and keep things moving the way they want. Because let's be honest, Donald Trump isn't making these decisions. It's the people
No.
around him, the Scott Bessents, the J.D. Vances, the Cash Patels, and all this. They're the ones that are pulling the strings, making him feel like he's making all these important decisions. He's not making them. He's just the vessel to get it out there.
Yeah, that's the other half of it. It's all these underling sycophants in the background, and you know these fuckers don't have immunity. So I'm I'm hoping that we do get that day where some major hearings going on. That's for sure.
Well, there's going to have to be some accountability. There's been a lot of crimes committed, a lot of corruption. Donald Trump may or may not be held accountable for some of these things. He may not be alive to be held accountable. But when all this stuff is exposed, all this criminality that's going on, They're going to have to find somebody who's accountable, and the likes of the cabinet and supporters of Donald Trump, and even the media to a certain extent. Um, there's going to be some accountability. You can't do that shit and expect to get away with it. The statute of limitations won't be run out by the time Donald Trump's done. So there's going to be a lot of motherfuckers that should know better, but they're going to be in trouble when this is all done because they're going to be standing there with their dick in their hands going, how did this happen? But you can't commit crimes and expect Donald Trump to protect you, especially if he ends up dead in the process. There's no pardons coming from Donald Trump if he isn't capable of doing it.
I was just gonna say, yeah, good luck finding one if he just cacks out on everybody.
Well, I mean, it seems like the people he pardons, yeah, it has to be somebody he doesn't know. He had this billionaire, this crypto billionaire,
Oh
that was in
yeah.
jail, and he was a true criminal, and his company laundered money and funded terrorist organizations like Hamas. Uh, Donald Trump, uh, Donald Trump pardons him, and then shortly after that, his company uh, brings up Donald Trump's meme coin. So there's obviously a lot of quid pro quo going there. But when he was asked about releasing this guy, pardoning this guy, he acted like he never heard of him, never knew who he was. I'm sure he does know who he was, but that's just Donald Trump's standard go to, much like Mike Johnson. I don't know. Well, somebody needs to fucking
Right.
know. Somebody knows.
We all know who the fuck he is, but you can't say who he is? Oh, you just divert. Okay. Now, yeah, he totally shot the whole Joe Biden auto pen to shit with this whole fiasco. And then the thing that really stood out to me with that whole fucking 60 Minutes interview was, is anybody looking at his ear?
Oh,
I
I
know it's
did.
old news now, but is anybody looking at the ear?
It
Isn't
looks
that kind of
pristine to
fucking
me.
weird? It looks fucking better than ever.
It does look better than ever. He tried to claim, well, I heal fast. Well, I got to tell you, if an AR-15 hits you in the ear, it's going to take off your ear, even if it just nicks it. Something at that velocity is going to do some significant damage, and that's what I don't understand. Somebody attempts to assassinate the president of the United States, and we know zero about it. We know
We
zero
know
about the guy.
shit.
We know zero about anything that was happening. When people were saying, well, he just set this up, I said, that's crazy because people died. But now as I look at it, I go, it's possible.
It's
It's
totally
possible he
fucking
set something up.
possible. There's been so many people and digging into this whole thing and just how the one video of the secret security guy going around and letting all the photographers up, and then the crane lowers the flag right behind him. I mean, it's right there. It's right there. Use your eyeballs and see it. It's right there. And now with the whole Charlie thing, there's all these videos going around, and there's serious digging going on with this shit. And it's another layer on the onion. It's just one more thing that does it make sense? Well, listen to what Cash Patel says. Fuck no, it don't make any sense. Okay, so what are we supposed? Okay, we just sit back and watch the widow hug all over the vice president and just move on. I guess it's
Yeah, if we
just
were in high
so many
school
loose
and
ends
those
with
two were
everything.
dancing, if they were in high school and they were dancing, the teacher would definitely separate those motherfuckers. That was weird. That was
My
odd.
principal, Mr. Mana, would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, no shit.
Save it
No
for the
shit.
car."
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the Charlie Kirk thing. What do we know about the killer, if he's the killer? Because there's some question about whether or not he is the killer, because he's supposed to have had a rifle. He jumped off the building. There was no rifle, allegedly broke it down, but then he went out in the woods, reassembled it, and left it. That makes no sense. That makes no
With
sense.
a
And
gun
why
that
don't we
doesn't
know
break
anything about
down the
this?
way you say it breaks down. Supposedly, he left the screwdriver on the roof.
Yeah,
There's the fucking rifle was left at the one that they found by the road was dumped off or wherever picked up at a Palantir house. There was a whole row of houses for sale. Guess who's selling them? That's
really.
weird.
Wow.
And then if
Yeah,
trust her as far as you could throw her, but Candace Owens comes out today or yesterday and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, there were 12 Israeli cell phones active on campus September 10th."
I
Coincidence?
don't I don't know how to take Candace. I mean, I'm not a big fan of hers. She's not inarticulate. She's not stupid. I don't know if I can trust her, but she sure is bringing up some cogent points that
Bringing up
at
some
least deserve
interesting
to be
shit.
answered. Yeah,
Right.
it's just
I would
I
too. She should keep digging. Watch her friend die like that. What are you going to do?
yeah, no kidding. But but again, if you're digging into this stuff and people are getting killed over whatever, I mean, they're talking about Charlie Kirk, how he was afraid of Israel and he was talking shit at Israel a little bit and he was not feeling um, good about his odds. If that's the case, why would he go out and sit in a crowd in a college campus? If I think somebody's going to kill me, I'm not going to sit out there. Fuck no. But everything about it is weird, and the fact that we
All
know
of it.
nothing about either of these events is just ridiculous. I know more about the JFK shooting than I know about Donald Trump's.
Right. From the fucking 60s.
Yeah, I was 3 years old when it happened. He's all about releasing MLK, RFK, JFK files, but he won't release anything with regards to his shooting or Charlie Kirk's shooting. It just the whole thing makes no sense. And then Erica Kirk is buddying up with JD Vance and what I'm thinking is going on there. JD Vance need to pal up with a blonde haired, blue eyed girl as opposed to the brown girl he's married to, but he needs some credibility for when he has to take over for Donald Trump because, as I've said, Republicans don't even like this motherfucker. He probably figures if he can latch into Turning Point USA that he might be able to have an easier time taking over the cult. It won't work because Donald Trump or JD Vance doesn't have the tools to fucking do it, but it wouldn't surprise
Right.
me if that's the whole point of what he's doing.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a shocker if that's the plan, that they can see it, that it's fading off, that it's wearing off. He's biting too much out of the apple. And, a big part of the whole snap thing and all this is it's all in 20 Project 2025. It's all still there. This is
Right.
all this is all the point. He can keep coming out with all this bullshit and all the stories and excuses, and it's all designed to break the people down. And that is what our job is. We cannot let that happen. And the louder all of us rationals are, there are more us of them. So if we keep this
Yeah.
train going and keep watching these fissures take place and harping on them within their own bullshit, it's only going to be better for us
That's why I
in the
think
long
standing
run because
back,
it's going to expose all of it.
that's one of the things I said to somebody I was talking to. I said, what we need to do is stand back, make fun of them, control the narrative, continue to make fun of them, and they'll implode on their own accord because they keep failing. They thought they might do well in these elections, but the economy sucks. I don't know if they really believe the tariff thing would work or not. But if they did, they were wrong. It's not working. The deportations would give them good pub, not working. Everything they've tried so far to do, according to Project 2025, has essentially failed and gave them bad publicity. And that's why I think we're hearing Project 2025 is even getting a little hinky about Donald Trump, too. Um, they'd rather have him slow it down and do little bits at a time so people don't realize what's happening to them. But Donald Trump is such a fucking clod that he does it all at once and everybody can see what's going on and everything fucking fails.
That's how he's been trained. Flood the zone with shit. So that's
Yeah.
what he does every fucking day.
Steve Bannon, of course, comes out and says, yeah, he's definitely running in 2028. Um,
That
nah, he's
fucking
not running in
gargoyle
2028.
motherfucker.
You know, one thing people always tell me, well, he's going to rig all the 2026 elections. He's going to rig all the 2026 elections and we won't get to vote and all that stuff. I just lighten up, man. That's not going to happen. And I would just say to those people, if he could rig all the elections and do that, why didn't he do that yesterday? If he has the capability of rigging elections and stopping elections, why didn't he do it yesterday
Well, we all
when he got
heard
his
that he
ass
was
kicked?
sending over, election people to California and Virginia. Was that a
And there was
tactic?
some.
Was that just spit out there to scare everybody? Were there people around, or was this
I
just
think he.
another ploy for bullshit? Because if it was, it fucking failed again.
Yeah, it failed again, and that's what they do all the time. There were some bomb threats, I think in Pennsylvania or maybe New Jersey.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jersey had a couple, I guess.
I mean, how proud must you be if you have to call in bomb threats to try to win a race and you still don't win? The one thing I liked about Gavin Newsom, uh, it was said that he was sending um, people out to uh, the election stations in California. We're going to send one here. We're going to send one there. And Gavin Newsom said, "Yeah, that's fine. You send one out. I'll send 10 for every one you send out."
Yeah, yeah, I did hear that. That's awesome.
Well,
I'm
I
hoping
love
that was the
how
case.
Gavin always has an answer for Donald Trump, and it always makes him look stupid, and it's always one upping Donald Trump. He fucking hates that. I know he probably despises Gavin Newsom. And whether he runs for president in 2028, I don't know. But I'll take all the shit he can let fly against Donald Trump up until that time.
Oh yeah, yeah, he can do it, and he's holding down the state. I mean, they last reports I heard from the fire, they bounced back quicker than they thought they would, and they went from fifth to fourth in the biggest economy. So he fucking knows what he's doing, and he can look right through Trump's bullshit. He knows that he's fake and full of it, and I'm gonna let my young staff just troll the hell out of you because I got more important things going on.
And
And
I
it
think
worked
that's the right.
masterfully, everybody loves me, America's favorite governor. Oh man, it was those first messages were amazing.
Yeah, I loved him. I loved him. Well, Matt, I'm going to wrap things up for the Rational Boomer podcast. I want to thank you for coming on, keeping us up to date with what's going on in Ohio, what's happening with the younger set. They're not all old fucks like me, so it's good to hear things are going well for you, in spite of the fact that you live in Ohio.
Yeah, my little bubble, I'm keeping everything as much as I can on the up and up, but uh looks like things will get interesting here in the coming days. Uh as things keep going here, but we do have our governor's race going on in 2026, and the main Democratic nominee I'm seeing come out, her name is Miss Amy Acton, Dr. Amy Acton.
Really?
Uh, very qualified. She's a Youngstown native, very personable. Her videos and meetings are great. And she happens to be running with or against Vivek Ramaswamy. So I'm sure she's going to be able to hand this motherfucker his lunch.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't know why Vivek Ramaswamy thinks he has a chance as a Republican. He's a brown immigrant. They don't want that fucker in there.
I
He's
think
going to
he's
end
another
up.
narcissist, honestly. He's just so full of himself because he's so
Yeah,
well spoken and money. backed that his shit don't stink. And we've all seen
Well,
your play already. It ain't any good. He already got torched at turning point. So
got
keep going,
torched at
bud.
turning point. He got kicked out of the presidential race. He wasn't the vice presidential candidate. I mean, at some point, you got to say, I'm going to pick up my stuff and go home and just be rich and not worried about being a politician because I don't have a prayer. I'm in the wrong party. I'm the wrong color and I'm an immigrant. So he doesn't have a prayer. I
We
hope
had
he
a
runs.
I think it was about a month ago. There was the big farmers thing here in the state. I forget which county it was in, but massive. All the farmers from everywhere get together for this banquet. And there's Amy walking around, introducing herself, meeting everybody, fucking taking her heels off, walking around, meeting everybody. Where's Vivek? On his private plane over in England watching the tennis match.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Flump was there too, eyeballing girls and chewing on blue pills and doing fucking God knows what. But that's
Yeah.
already old news.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. Well, Matt, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Keep us up to date
Yep.
with what's going on in Ohio and with you guys. And it's always good to hear from a lot of different people on the show. So I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Great to be back on and keep doing your thing. And I'm going to be here listening every day. And tomorrow will be a
I
little weird,
appreciate
but
it.
I'll keep going.
I appreciate that. For those listening, thank you for doing that. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.